Hello everyone, and welcome to the webinar on Accelerate Digital Transformation with Low-Code Digital Factory. First of all, thank you everyone for taking out time to join us to this webinar. Here are some housekeeping notes for everyone. All the participants will be muted to enable the speaker to present. All the questions can be submitted via the GoToWebinar question screen at any time, and all the questions will be answered at the end of this session. So without further ado, let's get started. In today's webinar, we will talk about what is low-code digital factory and why is now the time to consider. We'll discuss about 3 broad digital use cases and what they require from a low-code digital factory. We'll also talk about a framework for change that details the structure, talent, ecosystem, and processes you need to establish and scale your low-code digital factory. A 3-stage digital journey that will help you plot the progress of your digital factory from the first app to an enterprise-wide adoption. At the end of this webinar, we will have a simple demonstration of an application development process and the outcome in the demo. All your questions will be answered during the last 10 minutes of the webinar. Before we move on, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to OutSystems and Omnipresent Technologies. OutSystems is a leading low-code development platform that helps you innovate faster and deliver real business values. It helps you visually develop your applications, easily integrate with any system, and add your custom code when you need it. And you can change the application at the speed of business needs. Omnipresent Technologies is a certified strategic OutSystems partner which helps the organizations to speed up their web and mobile development efforts. My name is Mayur, and I look into overall development and digital transformation initiatives at Omnipresent Technologies. With that out of the door, let's get started. Let's dive deep into this webinar. We'll start with what is low-code. Low-code is a visual development approach to application development. Low-code enables the developers of varied experience levels to create an application for web and mobile using the drag and drop components and module-driven logic through a graphics user interface. Low-code also platforms relieve non-technical developers from having to write code while still supporting professional developers by abstracting the tedious plumbing and infrastructure tasks required in application development. Working together, developers in the business and IT create, iterate, and release applications in a fraction of the time that it would take with traditional methodologies. This low-code application development enables production of a full range of app types of disparate use cases. These app types range from upgrading legacy applications to IoT-enabled smart applications. Low-code platforms generally revolve around these 3 principles of building blocks, if you will, of any enterprise application success. These 3 are digital front-end, business workflow, and integrations. So what is digital front-end? Every enterprise application tries to provide a high-quality, scalable, and consumerized experience to its customers. A scalable digital front-end provides them with the opportunity to enhance the user experience for their customers as well as their in-house teams. With low-code, this can be achieved more rapidly and in a more secure way. Moving on to business workflows, an application functionality depends on the logic and the workflow to run a specific enterprise or business. Low-code platforms like OutSystems enables to develop the complex workflows with less overhead and more productivity. Lastly, what are integrations? With low-code platforms like OutSystems, organizations get the freedom to integrate and automate these daily mundane tasks which require human efforts and leads to cost and time barriers. OutSystems helps tackle these hurdles. With help from robotic process automation tools like Automation Edge, we can achieve these repetitive in nature tasks at a blink of an eye. So now let us understand what barriers that every business has to face to achieve the digital transformation. With a vast majority of projects growing as per the time progresses, it becomes more and more difficult to manage the process that was once built to manage the operations. The result of this leads to less and less innovations because the teams are always busy tackling these backlogs and tackling the problems. The skills required to manage these tasks do come with a cost as well. The cost of developers and architects and testers is ever increasing in the already demanding market. And the problem is only getting worse and worse. During the webinar, please let us know if you're not, if you're having disabilities or if you're having issues hearing the presenters. Moving on to the problems that a lot of enterprises and organizations are facing due to this massive barriers to lead digital transformation. Organizations have to develop more and more applications to support multiple platforms, which will need integrations with a lot of data platforms. This raises the need to use more technology platforms to create applications and lead more change requests. And most software developers are following the conventional hand coding methods, which totally depends upon the skill of a developer and more dependent upon the research and development methods. And these methodologies are expensive because the developer cost is involved, the environment cost is involved. They are slow because writing code takes time by hand, and the developer will always have to ensure that they write a good quality, optimized, and bug-free code. And no matter how much we avoid, refactoring is also a biggest factor or an element, if you will, which is needed to make sure that the product is upkeep with the upcoming updates in the technology and the changes that it may have to face. Also the features, bug fixes or updates may occur according to listings in the market, which will need to be hand-coded and integrated into the application, which will happen at a very slower rate. This is where low-code plays a crucial factor. And OutSystems with low-code digital factory holds a lot of promises to solve many structural and application development challenges that the industry is currently facing. Low-code development is fast and visual, as it provides you with a visual editor where you can drag and drop all the components, all the elements, create workflows, define the entities, and develop screens with just a few clicks. It adds value to create highly scalable applications in just a few minutes. Low-code applications can be integrated with almost everything, be it robotic automation, AI, or machine learning. It can be integrated very quickly with everything. And it's incredibly flexible, as it lets you create your custom workflows, play with external data sources or source of records, if you will, or hand code the user screens if you wish to. With all of this is an enterprise-grade service which ensures the reliability and security of the application, and the user data is maintained, secured, and improved at all the time. Now we'll take a look at the 3 use cases which basically will detail the kinds of problems that you can solve with low-code platforms like OutSystems. The first one on the list is digital operations. It's about streamlining or reducing the manual processes or the inefficient processes like data analysis or paper-based works, basically digitalizing the manual process, if you will. The next use case is reaches out to the customers and partners. Interaction is being done. So that's where it is very helpful. And the third one is digital core. That's about transforming the large legacy systems or building the back-end systems of records, if you will. For example, building ERP systems with low-code or building a financial service application with low-code. So yeah, we bucket the customers or partners into these 3 categories in Digital Factory. So when we look at these use cases, we see that they really have a different requirement from the application platforms that they're using to build the application. So with digital operations, you will need to integrate with a variety of backend systems with your organization. databases or ERP systems. So you need to have a lot of integration capabilities of user interfaces for employees who will be using these applications. For digital experience, you will need to build a great user experience, as everyone has been consumerized with the applications like Facebooks and Ubers of the world, which have set high expectations or a high level of playing field for how the application experience should be for the user. So yeah, you need to build user experience. You need an application platform at the same time that's scalable and secure in the backend to support larger numbers of users that will be hitting your websites or applications. And then there's the third use case, that is digital core. You need to have a very secure and again scalable platform to process your data that you're using to manage your business and manipulate it in a secure and scalable way. So yeah, before we dive into this low-code digital factory, we would like the folks to share their views. We'll share a poll where we will ask folks to vote about the kinds of use cases that they would like to prefer into their organizations or enterprises. So I'd request Ashish to present the poll in front of the audience. So yeah, basically the poll asks which type of application project is the most important to your organization this year. Yeah, so basically the options would be apps that support internal processes, apps that are directly used by the customers, or apps that replace the legacy systems that you build. So for example, an ERP could be built, or a financial service could be built. So yeah, we'll give the folks a couple of seconds to fill out these, and then we will take a look at the results also. Okay, so yeah, we have some apps to replace the legacy system that will run the enterprise or the business. So we are basically, I'm not surprised to hear that folks would like to replace the legacy systems, because yeah, I mean the need to optimize or rapidize the applications is the priority amongst the folks that are attending this webinar. So yeah, I mean the need to build legacy applications from core that will run the business is basically the priority right now, as it seems. So the normal consensus amongst a lot of other developers that has come out in an OutSystems survey is that a lot of professionals, the IT professionals, are focused more towards like for the apps that support the internal processes, because they want to provide an application experience to the internal teams. Because yeah, I mean customer experience or external customer experience is important, but at the same time you would like your internal teams to also have that same consumerized experience. So yeah, that has been the general consensus amongst a lot of IT professionals that we've spoken to. So yeah, this is an interesting batch of response that we've got from the participants over here. Okay, so yeah, so I'll move to what is low-code digital factory. So basically, low-code digital factory is a framework for change. It's a way to enable your organizations to move quickly and make changes that they need to be adaptable and move faster in terms of delivering this digital transformation quickly. So yeah, it is comprised of four components. It is comprised of four components, basically structure, talent, ecosystem, and process. So we'll take a look at all of these four components, and we'll dive deep into some of them. So the first one on the list is structure. So structure is really the organization that you build as you're adopting low code, which allows you to move really, really fast. So basically, it's about what kind of team you need to deliver these applications faster. We'll walk through to a very detailed example of it in a few minutes. But yeah, basically, this is about the kind of organization that you would like to build to adopt low code in the initial stages. Next up is talent. So now you have the team, like you have a lot of other team members, like developers, team leads and all. But what kind of skills they need to possess? So this is something that is very important, that every team member needs to have a skill possession. That could be development skills, user interface skills, what makes up the team and where to find these people. So all of these are extremely crucial as well. Next up in the list is ecosystem. So as we all know, no technology is alone. You always need to integrate it with the other components, other technologies in the environment, and be able to pull data from backends and data sources to integrate it with monitoring tools. So ecosystem is in low code is as important as it is in every other technology. And then there's process, which talks about what methodologies or process you use while using low code. What changes in a development process when you're developing at a faster rate with low code and getting the most complex products released quickly. So yeah, as mentioned earlier, I will give a quick walkthrough to the structure component. And what does the structure means, and what would it look like for an organization? So the first stage of low-code digital factory, engineering people evolved from all departments of the organization, from your business side, developers, architects, DevOps, and whatnot, business users. So we'll take a look at this whole foundation base in more details. In here, in the first set of folks that we'd like to have are the business users who will understand and build the business requirements. The business user is a key stakeholder because he has to interact with a lot of external users, understand their requirement, understand the needs and the trends in the market to bring it back to the team in-house and see what can be developed or what features or what positions or what assets can be developed from this. The second component could be a new component or a new concept for some folks. So in Digital Factory, in low-code Digital Factory, instead of having a project owner, we have a product owner. Since a project has a beginning, a middle, and an end, so this mentality of having a project owner can be considered as less effective in low-code because a product owner on the other side is an ongoing so a product is an ongoing revolution as it goes on. So that's a better mentality of instead of having to go by the approach of a start, middle, and an end sort of mentality. A product mentality of an ongoing roadmap is a thought that can be considered as a more suitable, as it helps dealing as well as facilitating the changes as opposed to the project management focus. And then we have some other folks on the team, the developers and the tech leads. So you need folks who can develop your applications, obviously. But with low code, especially with the initial product, you don't need a lot. You don't need a whole army of developers who can sit down and write code or write applications in technologies like Java, C#, Node.js, Python or Golang or whatnot. In fact, in the conventional programming, you need twice as many developers to develop a certain applications. With pair programming, multiple developers looking at the same line of code and trying to fix a bug and understand what is wrong with the application. But with low code, you need a much smaller team because of the rapid development methodology or the rapid development principles that it follows. Then you have the tech lead who helps with the initial efforts with low code. In this foundation model, a tech lead is someone who's going to play multiple roles, wear multiple hats. So he's going to manage the developers, obviously, but he can also be an architect to understand the workflows of the application from an application standpoint. In addition, he also needs to be the DevOps person, someone who is managing the code pushes from dev to test and from tests to prod and so on and so forth. You have the tech lead, someone who looks after the project workflows, managing teams, and etc. So next up on this foundation, we will see how it can be extended with the help, with the initial effort of low code. We will see different folks who can contribute with their roles. So first up, we have the key users, someone who represents the customer needs and looks after the digital experience, or the user experience, if you will. Then we need someone from marketing to look after the brand experience that is associated with low code, so that your application is on brand and whatever the features are on brand. Next up, we will need a UX designer, someone who is very efficient and can help the folks with the UX and UI design experience part. In the initial stages of a low-code application development, you need someone who can provide this graphical boost of how the application will look in the future with their low and high fidelity mockups and other UI elements. So basically providing a good overview of an application before it's been developed. You'll also need a couple of front-end developers because, who else will be developing the screens? But yeah, you don't need those developers to create the initial screens with respect to HTML, CSS, JavaScript, but from a low-code point of view, not by the traditional point of view. As for every application, testing is the most important aspect of shipping software, as you need to make sure the application that you put out is well tested, well validated, and capable enough to take the load of your user base. Next up, you will also need customer service to look after all the customer requests, queries, feedbacks that are coming to your applications. So yeah, that is also an important aspect. So that's how we can create a center of excellence, basically, if you will, from the basic foundation that we understood earlier. This can scale up moving forward with other team members in getting involved into the process to achieve a full digital enterprise application and leading to a full digital at how applications can be rapidly created with OutSystems, and at a click of few buttons, we can create some very good applications. So in today's webinar, I'll be creating a basic application where I'll be displaying how we can create a specific application which displays data which displays movie data list in just a couple of seconds. So we are in the service OutSystems Service Studio. So basically, OutSystems allows us to create rapid applications, and it provides a lot of boilerplate for the initial development of any application, so that the structural and a lot of design time, a lot of basic design time is saved, and that otherwise takes up in a conventional hand coding application development methodology. So OutSystem here provides us with a lot of robust and easy to use and faster application boilerplates. So yeah, as you can see, it allows us to create two different types of applications, or we can create a service application at just a click of a button. So in this demo, we will be displaying how we can create a quick mobile application with OutSystems. So allows us to select or easily create applications for mobiles and tablets, and we can integrate the same application for a vast majority of devices that we will support. So yeah, in this example, we will select the phone tablet. So basically what we'll be doing is we'll be showing up a list of movies over the years, and yeah, and we'll take a look at how easily we can pull out the data and display it to the folks. So as you can see here, it allows you to create a module. Basically, I've selected a mobile module, and we'll just hit click create module, and it will create a basic boilerplate of a mobile application module for us. Yes, so yeah, as you can see, we have the Service Studio open and running. On the left hand side, we can see this panel wherein we can see all the common flows of an interface. We are presented with other tabs like process, interface, logic, where we can add user actions, service actions, and data. So basically, we can integrate any sort of data from data. So what we'll do here is we'll go into the main flow, and we'll just drag and drop the screen. So it allows us to create, it pops out a lot of other options where you can select, from and just gives you a very simple boilerplate of a mobile application which you can go on and create your application with. So we'll just use a blank screen for this demo purpose. Yeah. So yeah, here you can see we have a basic boilerplate of application screen which we can later on go ahead and manipulate according to our own needs. So yeah, we can create a very highly scalable and highly customized application with just the help of very less efforts in terms of coding, and create application which is very scalable, and it is cross-platform and is very robust. So so yeah, now we want to display a list of movies. So basically what I'll do is I can import new entities. So all you can do is you can create entities by hand, and you can then pass on the data. But it also allows you to create export entities from directly from Excel sheets. So what we'll do is for this demo purpose, we'll use this and quickly integrate this database into our application. Yeah, so it'll ask us to import the Excel files, and we'll import it. Yeah, so as you can see here, we have a new entity called movie in the database, which comes with a pre-installed or pre-added set of elements in it. All we need to do is just drag this movie entity and drop it into our screen. And there you go. We, as you can see, we have all the movie lists, and publishing it is very simple and straightforward. So you just need to hit this this button, this green button up here, and yeah, as we can see that we can see that the store is creating or uploading the version of this particular application onto the OutSystems development environment, and as you can see, it is deployed. So it is that easy to create a simple application at just a few clicks, and within 5 to 7 minutes, we have our application which displays all the movies. So the idea behind this is that if we can create a simple app as this within 5 minutes with more efforts and more better workflows, we can create highly scalable and very good looking applications. So yeah, as we can see this in our emulator. It provides you with it provides you with a barcode which you can scan in the OutSystems Now application to take the mobile experience of the particular app. So as we can see, the mobile app splash screen is loading, and there we have our list of movies. A lot of good blockbuster hits in there. So, and yeah, it was all created with just a couple of clicks and a few minutes. So that's what you can, that's the power of OutSystems, and that's what you can achieve with a low-code platform like OutSystems. Thank you everyone for being so attentive and so highly participating in the polls. We'd like to take the questions now. So you can put your questions in the questions view in the OutSystems panel. Or if you have any questions, you can connect with us via email we'll be happy to answer your questions. So we have one question from one of our participants. The question is it all one transformation, digital operations, digital experience, core of low code? Can you do it all together, or is it required to do it all at once? I'm sure I don't understand the question, but I believe what you're trying to say is if you can do all of them together, or they need to be done separately. So basically, strategically, when you start thinking about how about the digital organization, yeah, it has to be in one transformative process. It's not a project at all where it begins and then there's a middle and then there's an end. It is a process of becoming better, able to deal with the changes overall. So you want to think of single transformative efforts at a strategic level. When you get down to specifics of what actually needs to be done, each organization waits to end up with phases or individual projects of formative efforts, basically. You may need to transform your digital operations and you need to transform your customer experience at the same time, maybe in a separate effort. But yeah, I mean, these they can entirely be done all at once. But the better approach is to take one thing at a time and then move ahead with the other one. But yeah, to answer your question, these all can be done all at once with efforts from different team members and developers. Any other questions? Yeah, we have another question. So it says, what kind of applications, I mean, scalable applications that can be created using low code? So yeah, I mean, as the sole purpose of this webinar, basically, you can build almost any mobile applications, from banking applications to financial service applications. There's a lot of integrations available with a lot of API platforms. So yeah, I mean, you can build almost every application or hybrid applications, Android as well as iOS with low code. You can build web applications for the same, like financial service applications, HR, data analysis, or any sorts of application that can boost up your enterprise's productivity at once. And yeah, you can also build legacy applications like replacing your ERP systems with low-code applications. So yeah, I mean, these are the kind of applications that can be built using low-code. So yeah, almost everything is can be done with low-code. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, so so you can share all of your questions. You can reach out to us with your questions via email or other means of communication, and we'll be happy to answer those questions. For now, I don't see any other questions coming in. So yeah, that's basically we can wrap this up. Once again, thanks a lot, everyone, for for taking out your important time to listen to us so attentively and so carefully. On behalf of Omnipresent Technologies, I thank you all. Have a good day and have a good weekend to everybody. Thank you.